asking for military intervention. Russia violated all our legal system, all international laws, all possible international laws. They just want to take us by force and control. Don't please prevent the new genocide of Ukrainians here. And the only way how you can do this, only by force. You know, I never wanted anyone to kill anyone. I'm the most peaceful person in the world, and Ukrainians are. But they are just coming and they are just killing us. So please stop them. Please come and save us.
All right, that woman has become sort of like an international rock star. She, of course, holed up in a shelter right now in Ukraine with her 3 children, and she's fighting the good fight and says that the Ukrainians will never give up that fight. Joining me right now is our former UN ambassador, former director of national intelligence, so much more, John Negroponte. Ambassador, good to have you. The fight of the Ukrainian people is not in doubt here, that's for sure. But I'm wondering, the more they show it and the more frustrated Vladimir Putin gets, what next?
Yeah, good afternoon. Thanks for having me on your show, Neil. Yeah, I mean, I wonder the next thing, because Putin having the kind of personality he does, it makes me wonder whether he's just going to throw more at it. The more resistance he gets, the more he'll throw at it. And of course, in the end, Russia's a larger, more powerful country, got a much stronger and bigger military, and ultimately even has nuclear weapons. Not that those are necessarily going to be contemplated by Mr. Putin, although he's made some, unfortunate gestures, I think. But yeah, I think there's a big risk out there that ultimately Putin is going to just seek to inflict as much punishment as he can on the country of Ukraine. But that's not to say that we haven't done a lot to help. I think both in terms of military assistance, I think the response of Europe is really heartening and encouraging. You've seen a turnaround in a number of different countries, like Germany, now willing to export lethal weapons to another country and things like that. And of course, we have said
to that point, sir. I'm sorry to jump on you because I'm glad you mentioned it, because Vladimir Putin responded to that. He was stunned at Germany deciding to do that, especially now Germany breaks a long record of trying to avoid just this sort of thing. But he said that if those get in here, you use them. I'm paraphrasing, watch out. Well, what can he do to Germany when he says, watch out?
Well, I don't know, but the question arises, well, what about all these countries that have decided to help the Ukrainians? Will Mr. Putin look for some way to retaliate against them? I think that's harder to do, and he's got his hands full at the moment. But, I mean, the broader point, in a way, is whatever happens in Ukraine, this series of events and this invasion, I think, has had a real crystallizing and unifying effect in Europe in terms of their response, something that we could never do through our powers of persuasion. Mr. Putin has managed to accomplish in several days. It's really quite a startling and dramatic change, and I think you're going to see increased arms spending in Western Europe. You're going to see countries, some that are not members of NATO, contemplating a closer relationship with NATO, if not seeking to join it. There's going to be a whole series of knock-on effects, not all of which we can yet anticipate. But the immediate question, as you said, is what next? And I would say what's next, and it's hard to see much farther than a day or two ahead in these things,
right,
is more military pressure from the Russians.
All right, Ambassador, thank you very, very much. I apologize for a truncated time here.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.